Let's talk about my favorite show, The Woody Show, right here. Hook me up.
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
Yep.
It is The Woody Show, and we have a special in-studio guest. As you know, we don't have a ton of guests on this show, but when there is somebody that we truly love and are excited about, we're like, dude, please.
Let's do it.
Come on in, and this is one of those people. You know him from a number of different things. Pick your reference for the one, the only, Patrick Warburton, who is here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Woody.
Well,
Thank you, gang. Jeez.
It's nice to meet you face to face. You got a Tom Selleck thing going on. I like the mustache.
Yeah, it's fetching.
A little bit, yeah. I don't have and it's not terribly authentic because there's a little color in there.
Oh, that's all right.
No.
I didn't go with the.
No, but it's very healthy and thick.
Yeah.
I didn't go with the Tom Selleck number 9 color. It's a little heavy.
This is more Sam Elliott adjacent.
Yes.
No. Well, I mean,
only you can prevent forest fires.
I mean, what your voice? The voice is awesome.
The voice just melts.
Can I get a beef? It's what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
That didn't come out great.
Sold.
It didn't come out great because I don't have my Zan. What was my first request when I came in here?
Oh, okay. So we've had a lot of requests from guests as they come in. Some people want coffee.
Right.
Some
Sure.
with what was it? Jeremy Piven that was he demanded
Oat
Oat
milk.
milk?
Had to be oat milk.
Yeah, had to be oat milk or whatever. And then Patrick just came in and goes, "Hey man, anybody got a Zin?"
Yeah, what is in at?
Yeah.
Well, I left it in the car.
Oh, no.
Let's see.
We might have a hookup, right?
Yeah, we might have some on site.
We did a Zin taste test recently, and then
Yeah.
DJ Tim
really?
Martinez Zins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is a Ziniac?
He's a double zinner.
So
Yeah.
I never tried Zin before, and I did 2 at the same time on the
Yeah.
air, and I almost died.
Upper deckers.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how you roll into it the first time.
Yeah.
No.
That reminds me. You know, like the first time I ever.
Oh, no. Our
that's
Zin
our
plug.
That's our Zin person.
No,
Oh, is it?
we'll get
Yeah.
it. We'll get it. Don't worry.
You know, I was a junior in high school, and I was on the wrestling team, and all the dirtbag wrestlers all chewed tobacco. You know, so I had to. So you know, I popped in a big gum full of Copenhagen.
Yeah.
You know, during lunch, and I did not make it to my 6th grade.
Oh, yeah. We turned green.
No, but I mean, I wasn't. You know, we weren't pussies back then. I got right back on the horse the next day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like I've got to do this to fit in. You know, so I've got back on the wagon. What does this do? Cause mouth cancer?
Yeah. Well,
Sign
Give
me
me
up.
another shot.
well,
So
back in that time, because you're what? How old are you? 60?
I just turned 60.
60.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, because like, dude, when I was a kid, the gateway drug to that kind of stuff was Big League Chew.
Oh, sure.
Because that's what everybody wanted. Like, and so you get the Big League Chew in
The
Little
dip.
League. Yeah, and you'd have the pouches, and we keep it in the back pocket where you had your batting glove.
Yep.
And
Well, yeah, and it
you
was
put
also that generation where parents smoked around the kids.
You have
dinner
your fake
parties at home.
cigarettes.
Everybody
Candy
was smoking.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
Good old days.
Candy
Don't
cig-
forget those.
Yeah, because even if it couldn't be for real cool, you had to like look cool with candy
With the
cigarettes.
powdered sugar coming out the end.
Yeah. So Patrick Warburton is here. He is celebrating his 1 year of stand-up. It's coming up Saturday, June 7th at the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood.
Awesome.
A live concert taping of his Still Catholic tour. You can get your tickets now if you go to patrickwarburton.live. That's patrickwarburton.live. Also some other Woody Show City dates besides Southern California. You got Las Vegas, let's see, in May 30th and 31st. And then you got, New Brunswick, New Jersey, for those of you in Jersey. Pittsburgh, July 22nd, 23rd. Pottstown, PA, again, right outside of Philly. Huntington Beach, Oxnard, Rosemont, Illinois. You got a bunch of different dates that Woody Show listeners can go and see. Again, patrickwarburton.live for all the information. What would you say is, like, what do people recognize you most from? Because you've done so many things that are so recognizable.
Well, I mean, it's just, it's different. There's nothing I really, prefer. There's nothing I really,
No, but like, what do you find people are coming up to the most? And, is it like Putty, or is it like, I would think a lot of people, like the Disney freaks, especially the
Putty, Family Guy,
Soarin'.
Kronk, Soarin',
Yeah.
the Soarin' ride.
My kid goes, Lemony Snicket. Oh,
Lemony
my
Snicket,
God.
yeah.
Series of Unfortunate Events is really, really cool.
That's a
that
big
was
one.
cool to do, yeah, and work with Barry on that. That was the most expensive Netflix series at the time.
I am
It was
not
almost
surprised.
$9 million an episode.
It
so,
looks like it.
yeah, the sets were beautiful.
It's incredible.
It's awesome working with Barry, but yeah, I mean, this has been really weird. I was getting kind of, dialed into my sort of more casual, less working, retired.
Oh,
yeah, right.
life,
How'd that
you know what I'm
go?
saying? Well, yeah, because, we find to get a little place down by the beach there in Ventura. I got my golf club down there, playing golf with the boys, drinking tequila. I got my family around. We just became grandparents. And then I decided to, do this disruptor and, make a pivot at 60. So I started doing, I did it for a minute when I was like 21. And for a minute means like a month and a half.
Right.
And then I went to Africa to do these crappy movies. And then I came back and I never did it again. And so 40 years, I kind of regretted this stuff. But I'm a stand-up snob and I always believe that in order to be a great stand-up, you got to eat, drink, sleep, and breathe this stuff. But I got my feet wet doing a show that I would open the show with like 10 minutes of talking, which became 10 minutes of stand-up. And then I just walked away from that show and I go, I'm just going to focus on this. So I really, I was doing it, just getting up, at the Improv a year ago, doing 15 here and there.
Yeah.
And then I had an opportunity to headline. And so my first show was the Irvine Improv. And it was 500 sold out. I did 70 minutes my first night.
Yeah.
60% of it was untried and untested. I hadn't even worked that stuff out, at the Improv. Now, did it go great? It went all right, you know what I'm saying? But I've been rolling since then and touring and making omits and adding stuff. And it's been a blast.
So do you find it because you tried it when you were younger and you were unknown at that point, right? And so like now you have this body of work that people, they know you, they're familiar with you in some way, shape, or form from all those things that I mentioned. Do you find that it's easier because people have a frame of reference on you?
Well, yeah, but it could potentially get you on stage, but at that point you have to have an act.
Oh, your Zin's here. Your Zin's here.
Yeah, your Zin plug's here.
Where's your Zin?
nice.
Tim, where's your Zin? Do you have your Zin?
Yeah.
Patrick Warburton, Tim Martinez, Patrick
Hero,
Warburton.
T-Mar.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, there we go.
These are sixes at least, right? Yes. There we go. Let's talk about my favorite show, The Woody Show, right here. Hook me up. No, but if you get a name, it's going to get you on stage, but it only buys you the first 3 or 4 seconds. You have to have, an act. There's situations, I'm not
of course
going to talk about them, but there are situations, things that have gone down where some of the most famous, people in the world who have created amazing characters on TV have had horrible situations on stage. Because they didn't have an act without name. So
without naming name.
Yeah,
right.
you have to have. So because in certain markets and this and that start off with clubs. We're still in the first year, and then Robert, who runs all the improv,
That Zin's hitting.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Feel it in the back of your throat.
in the nation, just grabbed it in Nashville, and then the show Nashville, and so they're backing. He wants to back up, my special and promote that through the Improv, even though we're not doing it there. And now we're booking theaters, 1,100 seat theaters.
awesome.
And that's all within the first year. But this is it's an interesting story to do a special because nobody's ever done this, as far as I know. Went on their first show, first tour, shoot their first show, and potentially their farewell tour.
Right.
All the same day.
One shot.
So,
One shot.
But it is, it's just been unbelievable. It's been accelerated. It's been so much fun. It's total therapy. I throw so many people under the bus and trash my wife in this thing, but she's okay with that. And a lot of LA and a lot of Hollywood, but it's fun. I disclose a lot.
Well,
Nice.
Patrick Warburton is here. And so, so LA, Southern California, plenty of opportunity to see Patrick craft his comedy. You got the 1 year celebration. His stand-up is going to be Saturday, June 7th at the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood. It's a live concert taping for his Still Catholic tour. You can get your tickets now by going to patrickwarburton.live. That's patrickwarburton.live. Other dates coming up. June 7th is when this one's happening, but then you got another one, Huntington Beach. That's August 15th.
That's your hometown, right?
Yeah. So we're doing. Yeah, that's a crazy one because I think it's on the beach.
Oh,
So
sweet.
that's
so
cool.
they get a few thousand people.
Have you ever
yeah.
been to Sergeant Pepperoni's?
Oh. Are you a pizza guy?
I am, yeah. But
dude.
look, I grew up on HP, but I don't know that joint. I mean,
Sergeant
I
Pepperoni.
don't get down there enough.
Started
man.
by the guy who was the former drummer of like Sugar Ray. So like back when they were like doing all the Fly and all their big songs and whatever, he was the drummer. His name's Stan.
Yeah.
And then he
Took it over.
started like this Sergeant Pepperoni. The place
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
so good.
Is it?
So
Dude,
good.
it's
Highly
really good.
recommend
It's
it.
really good.
Mark McGrath's an awesome guy. So he's come out and
Yeah.
done my St. Jude event, but I've also visited the hospital in Memphis with Mark, and he's
Yeah.
just really.
Oh, he's the
Right
best.
on.
He's the best.
Super
Yeah,
nice.
Patrick Warburton, Putty on Seinfeld, of course, Joe Swanson on The Family Guy. So many different iconic things that you.
I just did the Duster with J.J. Abrams. Which
Oh,
was,
yeah. On
just
HBO Max.
Max, yeah.
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 That's kind of like there's the I mean, it's crime. It's like a crime thing, but it's not serious, right? It's like there's some funny.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the 70s. Yeah, there's a lot
Right.
of
Offbeat.
interesting offbeat.
Yeah.
Character to this
But
show. Yeah.
you know how my kids know you from Soarin'. I mentioned that like earlier,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
because we go to Disney a lot. We're Disney freaks or whatever. But yeah. So like and every time, and my wife, she's like, oh my God. Every time we see that intro video like 1,000 times. Welcome to Soarin'. Right? And we see it 1,000 times. She goes, he's so good.
Yeah.
Like,
One of the great ironies is that when I was about 21 years old, I went to Disney jail. I got kicked out of Disney.
Did you
because-
really?
Yeah, my buddy
Sweet.
and I decided to get off the People Mover while it was moving.
Oh.
And that's a monorail ride.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure if it was just that ride that immediately shut down. It was like Logan's Run. There's like lights. So we're running, trying to get out. You're not getting anywhere in Disneyland. Next thing I went to And then, we get kicked out. So one of the great ironies is that I probably did the truly most unsafe thing ever in Disneyland. And then for the last 25 years, I've been your safety instructor.
I love that. Who better?
So how did that happen? Like, how does that opportunity come around? They just come to you and say, "Hey, man, we think you'd be perfect for this. You got the look, you got the sound."
Yeah.
Really?
They go, just drop in. So I did that. And
You're
then-
not like a Disney adult, and they're like, "Oh, what kind of famous people come here all the time that we can get to do this? It would be great."
Listen, I love Disney. I'm a total Disney-phile, and doing that day was awesome because Lassiter was there that day. And he grabs me and he took me around California Adventure into attractions and stuff that weren't even open yet, like Bugs Life or this or that. And we just had like this little private thing together.
Yeah.
It was very cool. I actually had to tell Roy Disney this story at one point because he had asked me to narrate something for him. When you're narrating a cartoon character, it's really easy. There's no right or wrong. You're all just experimenting. But he wanted Roy, 90-year-old Roy Disney, wanted me to narrate his passion project, which is sailing. And he was sitting next to me like this, very tense, And I listened to every word I said. And so in order to break the tension, I had to let him know that I went to Disney jail, got kicked out. And then I looked at him, I go, am I still safe on Soarin'? I still got that gig. He's like, yeah, you got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because you'll show up every once in a while. If you are at the park, then you'll show up at Soarin'.
Yeah.
And to blow
Freak
people's
people
minds
out.
out. I've heard tale of that. I've
Well,
I've not been there for
we
it.
shot that on Soch, but when I go there with my family, I do love to embarrass my four, kids, like
Yeah.
we'd stand in line and nobody, they'll recognize me. I got a hat on, glasses or
Sure.
whatever. And so when I come on the screen, I just tell everybody in line, I go, please be quiet. I love this guy. Everybody, my kids just, drop their heads.
And these little babies.
Yeah.
Patrick Warburton is here. He's celebrating his 1 year of stand-up Saturday, June 7th at the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood. You did say that you're a comedy snob.
Yeah.
So
well,
what does that mean?
Well, it's just
snob. Like you're just you're very picky about the comedy that you like, the comedy that you don't like.
Yes. Yeah.
So who are the people that inspire you?
Well, Chappelle, because I'm an anecdotal guy. So, Chappelle and, like Patton Oswalt, storytellers. But, of course, I love, my old pal Davey. He's just genius at the stuff. Love, Nate, Tom Segura, Bill, all those guys. But there's a lot. But then there's a lot I don't like. I always, believe that in order to be a great stand-up, you have to eat, drink, sleep, and breathe it.
Right.
But then I realized that to a degree, I guess, once I started doing this, once you start writing, I'm not doing a lot of writing right now. I've just really tried to hone the show down and really, so you make omits, you add stuff, and you try to, tune it up because you're going to shoot it, But it's been going great. It's been a lot of fun, and I just, I love it. It gets my mind working. I was just talking about this when we were off air, an autonomy I've never had.
Yeah, I was gonna say because the difference between when you're acting, even if it's fun stuff, like it's a fun role, you get to be funny, you get to. Nothing too serious, but it's still like, I don't know, you're still working for somebody else. I've said this a number of times, like my thing that I love about guys like that we're friends with, whether it's somebody like, Joe Coy or Bert Kreischer or these different, dudes that we know personally. It's like, man, all you have to do is make your fans happy. Yeah. Like there's no I don't know
overlord.
I don't know what it is in Hollywood, but I'm saying like for us, like for example, like we don't have to make a company or advertisers or anybody else happy. It would just be worrying about listeners. As long as that was good, everything's cool. So as long as your fans are good in comedy, they'll show up to your shows, they'll watch your specials, and life is good.
Yeah. But I think they'll get surprised because I go off the rails. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I sort of describe myself as sort of like a dirtier, less funny Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Then you'll appreciate it. But like I've
Yeah.
had comics, pitch stuff to me that have been doing this for like 30 years, and I go, well, listen, I can't do that because you're giving me something that actually is a premise or concept that's funny. But I'm going to present it as if it actually happened to me, and it didn't. And I've had them go, well, everybody thinks that when you get on stage that everything you say is BS. And I go, that's not true. I can tell. I can tell when it's authentic, and I can tell when it's not. And it really irritates me when they present something as if it actually happened. It did
Right.
not. So I can get quizzed. Anybody can quiz me on my stuff because it is all authentic. Now there's some stupid jokes and stuff that I mix up in there. It's not a night with. I don't some of the comics are like, you should throw in some more of these
Right.
industry stories. I go, no, I mean there's a couple of them that I could really lean into that make sense. But I like to I'm identifiable. I've been married for 34 years. I got 4 kids, 7 dogs, and a mean wife. But I mean, it's like
Me too.
Like Davey.
Yeah.
Davey is awesome. I've been a fan. I've loved Davey. We've worked together for a long time.
See,
But
you know that because
Is that
you
Davey?
call him
Yeah.
Davey.
Davey.
but he's not.
It's not Crockett.
He's a genius, but he's not
Yeah.
relatable. He's still a 6-year-old guy going out there trying to bang 20. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? I saw Davey. I was at the Improv one night, and I was like, he got a dog. He's just doing this whole bit on a dog, and I'm like, you got a dog, so you could do something relatable. That's what he did, because he doesn't want to take care of anything.
Right.
He doesn't. He
Yeah,
absolutely does
for sure.
not.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever had a house guest spend more than a night or two at his place. But it's like, and now he's got a dog. This is so you could be relatable.
Yeah.
Man
I
of the
know
people.
exactly what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I remember watching something about the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond. I think it was like Phil Rosenthal and those guys talking about like how the storylines came together, and it was all just based on they say, hey, the writers would go home and come back and tell us about a fight that you had with your wife, and that's what became the show.
Right.
yeah.
And that's obviously because that's the most relatable. You can cook something up that you think would be relatable, but the stuff that is the most relatable is the stuff that I think, and I've said this to other radio people too. Whenever you get a little nervous, like you share stuff all the time as somebody who's on stage or someone who's behind a microphone of any kind, you're sharing stuff all the time. The things that you get a little nervous before you share them, and you go, I don't know if I should share it. That's the best stuff.
That's
Oh, it is the
gold.
best stuff.
That's the most vulnerable. That's the stuff that's really going to hit and connect with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, when my kids are like, Dad, you can't say that. I go, check.
Perfect.
Will do.
Yeah.
What does your wife say? Like, is it like your wife is the target of some of these jokes, and she's
She's really
after
funny.
30-something years, she's got to be used to it, right?
I describe her because I'll pitch stuff at breakfast, having coffee, or I'll pitch something, and she's like, I don't get it, that's stupid. I'm like, check that works, but she's just really literal. So I describe her. She's just very smart but very literal. So we actually both think that she's on the spec. So I describe her as being
Right.
like an
Does she
Elon,
like trains?
she's like an Elon Musk that brings no money to the table. Married to Elon Musk, and you got to buy him all those.
I saw you posted something recently on your social media because there was the whole thing about the like raw dogging a flight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, like because that was one of the things from Seinfeld,
Yeah.
and you and Elaine were on the your character, you were on the plane,
Yeah.
and
Don't you want to read something?
no,
No.
yeah. So it's funny because I've watched I think every episode of Seinfeld about 100 times, and then we talked about the raw dogging thing as that was becoming popular, and never put the two together until I saw your video.
Yeah.
I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He's
See?
been raw dogging for
That's
years.
a thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't know, and it's odd and curious. That's actually become a thing. I don't know why anybody would lean into that, but
Right.
everybody would approach me about that. Now, I never did Soch until like 3 months ago. I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
did a little bit.
Welcome.
Yeah, well, I finally.
Is it a friendly place?
Well, because August, who's booking me, goes,
Yeah.
look, if you're doing comedy, you're not gonna do social, and you have to hire somebody to do it. So I did. I got help. So no, it's still authentic. They go, can you do a talk to camera, this or that? But they just help package stuff together to make it look like I know what I'm doing, which I don't. And so it is funny because in like 15 years on Insta, and I talked to my agents back in the day. I'm like, do I have to do this stuff? And they're like, no, you don't have to do it. So I never did it. But after, like 2 months ago, I guess I had still less than 200 followers, and then they got on, and within 2 months, it's gone up to like 400. But so, a big part of that was because, like the raw dog thing. I mean,
Right.
I never posted anything on there that went viral, but I guess that did.
Yeah,
'cause it's
popped
like
up
a-
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean they, and it's just so stupid.
Yeah,
How did that become a thing? And why is it?
Good question.
Is it an endurance
I think people are
test?
so stimulated,
Yes.
right? Social media and otherwise, they have so many things that are demanding their attention that almost it's entertaining or somehow stimulating to maybe completely detox or disconnect. And so you have this opportunity where on your flight, right?
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? You can't go anywhere. You're kind of stuck. You're forced into it.
Yeah, I did it on like a 3.5 hour flight.
You did? Now why?
Did, yeah.
By choice?
No, well, because it was a thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, let's see if I can do it. And I did, and it was fine, and I enjoyed it. And all of a sudden, around the end of the flight, the lady next to me goes, how are you doing this? Like, she didn't know anything about raw dogging being a thing, but she was like, you haven't done anything. I was like, no, I'm fine. And it was enjoyable. I liked it.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was relaxing.
you
Was
did
it?
You did end up getting a pretty good Twitter or Instagram handle. I mean, Patty Warbucks is pretty good.
That's sweet.
Yep.
That's pretty. Paddy Warbucks. If you want to follow Patrick Warburton on social media. Also, the 1 year celebration of his stand-up career now. Right?
Yeah.
Is it one and done maybe or?
Yeah, so that's how I describe it, right?
Yeah,
First,
like, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, first year, first tour, first show,
Yeah.
and potentially farewell all in the same year. But listen, I'll probably continue to move on because it's just been like the most rewarding, crazy
It's
career
fun when you
of my
find
life.
something you love.
Yeah.
You find
It's
something you get really into. Did you have a hobby before this? I mean, you said you golf and stuff like that, but is that like a real hobby? Is it just something socially you do with your friends?
Besides golf and Zen.
Yeah. Well, golfing, I've been flying for years, but
You do?
but I never got my privates because I would always end up, I get close and I'd be ready to start doing cross countries and stuff. And then I'd like go to, Vancouver for 2
Right.
years to do a series or something like that. So I kept putting it down, picking it up. One of the things I could never do was grind out all the ground stuff because I just didn't have, the attention until, last year my daughter diagnosed me with ADHD. So, now this actually gave me permission to just stop feeling guilty about never finishing up on that. And, because this is where all my focus has been. So this has become my hobby. This has become something that, I've just sort of immersed myself in. It doesn't matter. With flying anyways, I've got a family of 6. I would never put my family in an airplane with anything other than professional pilots.
Uh-oh.
Which
Glad you brought this up.
which includes me. Somebody's there doing it. Well, my son Shane is a professional pilot.
Okay, well,
so and he so
it was funny that you said that because I had no hobbies. I had only interest. The only thing I ever really wanted to do was learn how to fly a plane.
Your hobby was looking for a hobby.
Was looking for a hobby. And then my wife, I said, well, I want to take flight lessons. Nope, you can't do that, kids, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then finally she's like, all you do is work. You got to do something. And I go, well, I want to fly. She goes, fine. So I signed up immediately. So I'm in the process of getting my my private pilot's license now. Should have that like in August.
Yeah.
I bought a plane.
Yeah.
I've gotten crazy.
Yeah.
went
It's awesome.
all
yeah.
in.
Yeah, but I mean, I went with the plane that's got the parachute. It's got the safe return, will land
Right, you got a
itself. If you,
Cirrus.
I got a Cirrus. I got an SR-22. Dude,
Yeah.
it's
Those are great planes.
It's a great plane,
Yeah.
but it's so funny that you said that because I'm trying. I can't stop talking about it. Same way I could tell you're passionate about like the comedy thing and how much that's really kind of lit you up. Like this. It's been the same thing. It's changed my life.
It's fine, and you can fly your family. You just have to make sure that you're getting up in the air at least once, twice a week.
Oh yeah,
You know
I'm
what
flying like
saying?
4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, you won't stop.
Yeah, and you'll know
Yeah.
when. Yeah, you're.
But I'm saying when you find something, whatever it is for anybody else, like whatever, when you find something that lights you up like that and you lean into it,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah.
It's awesome. So I could tell that you're. I mean, just the way you're talking about doing the stand up comedy thing. I mean, it's a real legit. It's a fun departure from what you've been doing. Like it's a departure from me from what I've been doing for 30 years.
It's really weird, but in 40 years, I'll go to a club, so I'll do, 5 shows in 3 days. We do Thursday night, and I do 70, so I do Thursday, I do 2 shows Friday, 2 Saturday, then they hand me a check, and I go on the next city. And it's really rewarding because I wrote all that stuff. I got up there, I filled their house, we had fun, the shows are going great, and I earn my money. I haven't felt like that in 40 years in this business, strangely enough. And in the early days, I used to, I drove for 123 Courier. We didn't have FedEx and and stuff like that. So literally, I was picking up packages and delivering them somewhere in the city, and it's just miserable. Something a trained monkey could do. But when I got back, and this was early 20s, and opened up that beer, or whatever, I had a sense of satisfaction. I earned money and I worked, and I have that same feeling now doing this, and I haven't had that feeling in 40 years in this business, which is odd.
So
Really?
would you describe acting like that, the profession of acting, with like other than the schedule or maybe traveling or being away from your family for 6 months, but like the actual job, the day-to-day part of it is like easy because it's not your words. You know, like you're
no, and look, and it's always different. That's one of the things I appreciated about it. You know, and you get into the arts or whatever. It's obviously not to do essentially what a 9 to 5 thing is. You know, you guys have a regular schedule, but you're creative. You get to do. You know what I'm saying? You're creative every single day. We want to.
Some would say.
We want to be creative.
Some would not.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're doing your own words, and that
true.
we have to immerse ourselves in a character or something. And I mean. And it's okay that it's written for us, and I'm not saying that I don't appreciate those opportunities, and some of them are much better than others. But I mean, I would look through my IMDb over the last 40 years, and I'd be like, that was cool, that was crap, that was cool, that was crap, that was crap, that was crap, and realize that I did everything that came my way because I had a family of 6 to support. And then I realized a few years ago, the race is over. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You're okay. You can just play golf and drink tequila with your boys. The rest of you want to, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
What's your tequila, by the way?
Well,
We have so much in common. Like I'm a tequila guy.
That's
You like to fly. All right. So what's your tequila?
Okay, now so in the realms of stand-up, I'm a snob, but in the realm of tequila, I'm not really.
Right.
So I don't drink crap tequila, but I'll drink Cazadores on the rocks.
Okay.
I don't really care, but I mean, I love Clase Azul. They've been the sponsors of my St. Jude event for years.
I mean, that's kind of a fancy.
It is a nice one, yeah.
Yeah, they got they got the ceramic bottles and they're all hand painted. And
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, they
But
got the bell on the top.
Right.
They have donated
Yeah.
so much tequila to us throughout the years. And this is a really cool thing. This last year, actually, so I just started an event very humbly for St. Jude 15 years ago. By the year 3, we were the #1 event in the nation for St. Jude.
Wow.
This year, so we've raised $40 million. This year, it's a golf tournament. But we have a jam. We'll have like 9 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame members on stage all at the same time, throughout the night. One of our shows went 5 hours. I mean, literally with Steven Stills walking on stage at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Does Davey show up for this, or like he says some of this?
Yeah.
He has, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
Davey shows up.
That was the early days when we maybe have a little bit of comedy. It's all music now, but we've had Robbie Krieger, and Alice Cooper, who are old buddies of mine. They do it all the time. But the guys from Rush, we've had Huey Lewis, we've had Michael McDonald, we've had
Up and comers.
Yeah.
Yacht rocking with Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
to the
a lot
yes.
of fun. But anyway, this year we actually raised $6.5 million.
Wow.
Beating the Memphis FedEx St. Jude.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's cool. Patrick Warburton is here. He's celebrating his 1 year of stand-up. Saturday, June 7th, the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood for our SoCal folks. Also, Las Vegas coming to town the end of the month. I'm looking across a couple dates in New Jersey, well, at least around the Philly area. You got New Brunswick. That's Central Jersey. That counts. Pottstown, PA. And then some other dates like Oxnard and Huntington Beach. Pittsburgh coming at you.
Yep.
105.9 The X listeners. That's July 22nd and 23rd. Get all the details. Just go to patrickwarburton.live. Also find him Twitter, Instagram at Patty Warbucks. Dude, thank you.
Thank you. The big show, though, now is obviously shooting the special at the El Portal on June 7th. We're doing a 7 p.m. show and a 9 p.m. show, and it's going to be great because I'm going to have a lot of actor buddies there and comics and family. And
I mean,
so
you're in the sweet spot of celebrity, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to come out.
They're going to be fun shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to trash half of them.
Right, sweet, yeah, great. It's gonna be like Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's always
we're
fun.
never going to have a better host if they weren't such pussies. I mean, there's no
Right.
better host
Oh, he
for
was
the
great.
Golden Globes than
Yeah.
Ricky.
So good.
Come on.
For sure.
Yeah. So when we were listening, you're talking about some of your favorites, man. I mean, you mentioned Chappelle. He's definitely one of my favorites. But like Ricky Gervais, and talking about a guy. Okay, so you discovering comedy. And this at this stage of your life and saying you're pretty much you're going to be a retired guy and now you're doing the stand-up comedy thing. Like one of the stories I love are like a guy like Ricky Gervais who didn't even really start until he was 40.
Right.
He had an office job,
Right.
which then
Yeah.
spawned the idea for
Office.
The Office.
And gave hope to a
Yeah, so
whole
he
generation.
didn't even start comedy until he was like 40 years old, which is crazy. And then who was the other one we were talking about? Steve Harvey.
Oh,
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey's
Later.
another one. Like he was like doing insurance or something, and all of a sudden, like very very late, like closer to 40, like started doing comedy.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
You also
It is.
mentioned Tom Segura. Have you watched Bad Thoughts yet, by the way, on Netflix?
No.
Oh, my God.
You got to check that out.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Tom
Yeah.
Segura,
Yeah.
you
It
definitely
is.
gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick Warburton, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you
Woody.
coming by.
Thanks,
More
guys.
Woody Show is next. Hang on.